Hello, hello, everyone. How are you? To all my Support Fibro friends. I'm Melissa Tolwer from the Support Fibromyalgia Network. I wanted to jump on here. Happy Sunday. I've been, looking at things and research, so I wanted to just do a quick research discussion again with fibromyalgia. Is something that interests me quite a bit. And I should say, Estella from Looms for Lupus, and I got a chance, an opportunity to join the NINDS nonprofit forum. So after this discussion, it was really impactful too. Because we got to hear from Susan Williams and definitely talking about Lewy body. So, and its relationship with Robin Williams, it was super impactful to hear her speak. So all of this information was great. We got to meet one-on-one with researchers as well, got to hear from the program directors. So it was really good information for 2 days. And a lot of information. So it got me thinking as well, based on this, was some of the stuff and the outreach to researchers who specifically do fibromyalgia research, but then it was also brought up we should look at more of the biochemical processes or other mechanisms that there might be gaps in research within the brain, that it might be a hypothesis. So I started to dig into more of the research this past week. I haven't been sleeping a lot because when I start doing a lot of research on fibromyalgia, like scientific research, it keeps me up a lot. This is what I'm intrigued by and really fascinated by, to see if we can dig into it and make correlations. So I thought I'd kind of just share an article that I found with you, and I'm going to broaden the share a little bit more so you can see it better when it comes to viewpoints. So this is the NINDS nonprofit forum website, but I'm going to switch over really quickly to this abstract that I kind of found, and it was actually really intriguing because I was looking for something like this, right? A place where you could find all of the research sort of in one spot and condensed. And I really liked it because I was looking for it. I was struggling to find all of this because we have a lot of different ideas on pathophysiology for fibromyalgia. And so that's why I thought I'd just kind of quickly go over pathogenesis. So pathogenesis is the process by which a disease or disorder develops, and it can include factors which contribute not only to the onset of the disease or disorder, but also its progression and maintenance. So this was interesting for me to find, and that's why I shared it. The link is in the discussion and in the description of this video, but I'll be sure to keep posting and sharing with any of you that are interested, because if you're diving into the research of it, I know we have a lot of theories and ideas of where we think fibromyalgia pathophysiology leads to. So this was kind of a good breakdown of everything that was going on within it. And there was a lot of detailed information that they go through when they put everything together, but it was nice to see all the research collectively in one place. So that it can be broken down. And here's the abstract of the information, but you can see what the definitions are of fibromyalgia, and then they get more into pathophysiology and what's been observed thus far. And this is where we can really break it down. And they go through everything that we've kind of talked about. So principles of processing for underlying fibromyalgia, when we're talking about peripheral and central sensitization. So they go through all of this. They cite all the research there. So you can get the research cited. It'll scroll down to the bottom, and then you can dig into all this details of research of where it's come in and aggregated all this information. Because some of the stuff here that I'm really intrigued by is the NMDA, so these glutamate receptor antagonists. And we heard a lot about this. I don't know if anyone, I forget what the documentary was on Netflix with the girl on fire, or the brain on fire. So we're talking about brain inflammation where the brain feels like it's on fire. So that was just components of the NMDA receptor coming out through that documentary. And it's an interesting correlation between some of the stuff that they've seen for fibromyalgia. So again, just comprehensive information. And I know I'm scrolling really, really fast, but you can also, in here, it talks about inflammation and immunity. So it goes through some of the research that has gone on when it comes to the neurogenic derived inflammatory process. So that's what it says, both where it is in the brain and within the spinal cord. So some more intrigue with pathophysiology within fibromyalgia. So those of you that are looking more into that, you can diligently look at the research. But overview, it's just everything we've kind of all talked about and what we believe. I like that they include genetic aspects. So I was personally really digging into the SNPs area because I want to see if there's genetic overlap. And I've done my genetic testing through Strategy, and I need to do an updated Strategy, and I'll present that when I do that. But I even have some of the slow SLC genetic SNPs. They go into endocrine factors, so really detailed, and then also pinpointing, again, you can like go back into the research itself. So poor sleep, which I think is an area that definitely needs a lot more research, because when you see some of the research getting done through the NIH, it's a lot of treatment modalities, similar stuff coming up with like exercise, CBT, more on the chronic pain side, but we're really trying to focus on fibromyalgia specific research. And I know we have unrefreshed sleep as one of the components of fibromyalgia. So that potentially could be a gap in our research. And that's what we're looking for too, is like gaps in research from a mechanical point of view or anything on a pathophysiology like point of view that we can go into. And again, this is really, really detailed. They go into pain amplification in fibromyalgia and like why this discussion has come up, and they cite the research in there, pulling all the research in there. Diagnostic biomarkers, the genetic approach. So they do acknowledge the prevalence of fibromyalgia in family clusters, and several studies support that. So these, again, back to genetic factors and looking at this, and then they cite the research of where this has come from in the discussion points. Epigenetic modification, so they're going into details of that. Other biomarkers, gene expression, so they have gene to gene research coming out. So just all of this detail, and that's why I just wanted to share with you, because I've been going through this, and there's points of this which I'm really intrigued. I like that they include the autoantibodies, looking at prevalence within other autoimmune conditions. One of the things I was really intrigued by was, and I've always been intrigued by this because I've been studying this when it comes to brain health and even a ketogenic lifestyle, is BDNF. So for me, this was quite intriguing because of all the research that I've learned when it comes to Alzheimer's and just studying within the Bredesen protocol. So BDNF is the brain-derived nootropic factor. And so you hear this a lot with research in neurodegenerative diseases regarding certain SNPs. You also hear about BDNF in relation to depression and stress because it is a member of the neurotrophin family of growth factors. And there is a connection to learning, memory, higher learning, roles in synaptic transmission. So when they study this in like different stress response, so I always think that is so intriguing, and that's actually one of the things that I've been digging into quite a bit, because for me it's interesting that there's supposedly higher levels of BDNF in fibromyalgia patients when they did these clinical studies. So I'm kind of going back to what I learned within the brain and referencing, because like when it comes to these different protocols of neurodegenerative diseases, they're always trying to kind of increase BDNF, and they do it through exercise modalities. There's also some supplementation, but it's intriguing that there's the connection with exercise, and many of us struggle with exercise. But also, just like I said, the connection to synaptic transmission when it comes to memory, learning factors, stress response, and just other things, even with serotonin. So that was an area that I went down, was doing a lot more research in. But you can see how intense this whole page can be and how much you can go into like interesting like other things. And so one of the things, inflammatory cytokines, that's come up quite a bit, and especially with the new articles talking about fibromyalgia's connection to autoimmune conditions. So I do like that they have something here too. This was good for me to see, is antioxidants and diet for fibromyalgia management. So I didn't realize when it came to this that there was a little bit of stuff being done. I'm always intrigued by nutrition. But I didn't know that there was actually research that fibromyalgia patients produce are highly susceptible to increases in ROS. So these Yeah, it's just all together intriguing. So that's even more for me to look into as we go along. But they have the different conclusions here. I do like that it references pharmacological treatment alone. It has been inadequate for the majority of patients who suffer from fibromyalgia. So I think we all know that. Given the different mechanisms of pain sensitivity, treatments will continue to involve multidisciplinary programs that target the peripheral, central, cognitive, emotional, and interpersonal causes of chronic pain that characterizes fibromyalgia pathophysiology. But it really goes into that it's very complicated. We definitely need more research. And I like this because it digs into areas and really kind of highlights maybe some of the gaps. So I encourage you, if you know any research out there, please have them reach out to us, because it's important that we acknowledge these gaps, or maybe focus on replicating stuff from the past that we might be able to like figure out some more pathophysiology for fibromyalgia. Because if we only focus on like treatment modalities, which a lot of the funding goes to, and the treatments aren't working for the fibromyalgia community, we really need to go back to pathophysiology. So that's why I just wanted to really quickly highlight this article for you, so you can get an idea. And maybe if you're intrigued by this, and go through, you can go through each phases and just learn more and like actually understand where the research came from. Do we need some more advanced research? Because sometimes studies are so small, like the patient studies, when they work on this, are, need more information. So thank you everyone for joining this quick discussion on research and pathogenesis of fibromyalgia. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. I feel like I need another day in between Sunday and Monday, so I need another day before Monday begins. We'll have more updates coming soon. Bye.